again. Welcome to another Gung Ho show. I haven't done some in a long time. I've been involved with a murder one case in Texas. The title of this show is Law and Disorder, Texas Style. I think many of you know that I'm a retired criminal defense attorney. I went right from the Marine Corps into law school, and from law school into the practice of criminal defense, and I've done it ever since until I was forced to retire by the Veterans Administration because of service-connected disabilities. One of them is a sensory neural hearing loss. That means what sounds come into my inner ears don't get properly sent to my brain, so you can't be a defense lawyer and do that. Anyhow, I'm retired. I'm an attorney in good standing. And on April 27th of this year, I got a call from a friend of mine, an investigative journalist by the name of Cheryl Collins. And she told me that a friend of hers by the name of Stephen Audrey had been arrested in Broward County, Florida, for a murder that occurred in Dallas, Texas over 6 years ago. It was a murder one case. I knew something of him. He was the husband of a gay couple. His wife, Brian Vodka, had filed something in one of my, you would say, very high-profile mafia case, federal case. He had filed a letter motion, Brian Vodka. So I knew of the name, I didn't know him. So I told Cheryl, okay, I'm retired. She said, what can you do? I said, well, where is he? She said, Broward County. I said, it's great, because my best buddy is right there, and he's a criminal defense attorney. So we took over the case, me and my friend Chris Grillo. Now we are the best of buddies. We met when we were teenagers on the Hofstra University wrestling team. He was 19, I was 18, and we've been friendly ever since. And we tracked sort of the same way. I went in the Marine Corps, he went in the Army. I went from the Marine Corps into law school. He did the same thing. He went to law school. Anyhow, he's still in practice. He's 80 years old. His health is fine. So he became the lead counsel, and I became the consultant attorney. And when you pick up someone, like when Texas picked up a guy in Florida, you just can't bring him back to Texas. You have to take him through the Florida court system. It's called a writ of habeas corpus. Anybody that is picked up, held in custody, has a right to file a writ of habeas corpus. That's the law. It comes down from our Constitution. It's in the state constitutions. You have a chance to challenge the legality of the documents, the arrest, in the court where the state is holding you. So he went to court, I went to court, and we were told to file a writ. Gave us so many days to do it. All the while, Stephen Audrey was being held without bail. We put together the writ, and it was a damn good writ. We covered every issue, and we were right on every issue. So we filed the writ, we served it, we filed it, and we went to court. When the first time that Chris went to court, the judge said, file the writ, which we did, serve it, file it, we did, then come back on the 26th of July. We'll have a status conference, and we'll put it over for a hearing on the legality of the arrest in Florida. That's what he said. We went back on the 26th, and all of a sudden, the game had changed. He didn't want to hear anything, and there wasn't going to be any hearing. Now, the law specifically says that the accused has a right to a hearing to challenge the legality of his arrest. And in Florida, what they did is an officer came from Texas with a arrest warrant affidavit, and he presented that to officers in Florida, and they went out and arrested him at his home. Now, he had left Dallas with his partner in 2016. Now they were living in Florida for a while, and they were getting along, making a living. So he got arrested based on this arrest warrant affidavit, and they brought him into court. Now, for him to be extradited, the Texas governor has to present to the Florida governor what they call a package, an extradition package. And the package has to contain certain documents. They have to be in proper form. So one of the ways the accused to say you can't extradite me is because the package is not in proper form. The other way to do it at the same time is that you arrested me here. I was arrested without probable cause. And let's have a hearing to see if there was probable cause. That's all basic law that comes down from our Constitution. Forget about it. This judge was not going to do it. And all of a sudden we realize that our client's rights are going to be violated, and the judge didn't give a damn. In fact, when we went back on the 26th, the proceeding was on Zoom. And you could get the number, the ID number to get in. And while we're doing this proceeding, someone spoke to the judge, which is odd. Someone watching on Zoom spoke to the judge. And it was the son, one of the sons of this lawyer that had been killed in Dallas. Actually, he wasn't killed, but died in Dallas over 6 years ago. His son is talking to the judge. Very odd, unsworn. All right, so on the 26th, the judge says, I'll give you 2 days to change my mind, but the writ is denied. We come back in 2 days, and he doesn't want to hear anything. And it's obvious to me and my buddy Chris that this judge has not read the writ. We filed a writ, 138 pages, with exhibits and things. He never bothered to read the writ. And we could tell that because of the way he was asking us questions. He was clueless, and he didn't give a damn. And we go back on the 28th, and again, it's on Zoom. And someone is talking to the judge again. And it's another son of the deceased Ira Tobolowsky that died over 6 years ago. In his last comment, after he knew that Stephen Aubrey was going to be back, was being brought back to Texas, was, to my client and us, welcome back to Texas. Well, sure enough, on August 31st, suddenly they took him from Broward County to Dallas County. And he appeared in court. Well, actually, they took him on the 30th. He appeared in court on the 31st. In the interim, I have been doing some due diligence about the case. As you can see, this file here is just a federal civil rights case. This gay couple got so exasperated that they went into federal court and sued the Dallas PD, Dallas Police Department, homicide detectives, and the media for basically violating their civil rights. So they started this, I think, in 2019. So this case was pending when Stephen Aubrey got arrested. This file here is just part of the criminal case. So I started digging in, and what I wanted to know was what was going on with the civil rights case. And Brian Vatica, the one that's out, told me, well, they gave us some discovery. I said, where is it? He said, it's on Steve's computer. I said, get it to me. I want to see it. So he sent me a thumb drive. And sure enough, I loaded it onto my computer, and there was a lot of discovery on it. The most interesting thing was what they called crime scene photographs, hundreds actually, of the scene of the arson, which it wasn't, and of the deceased laying there. Very good photos, photographs of the places they searched, which included 2 apartments that belonged to the couple. They searched their cars, they searched their cell phones, they searched their computers, and they actually, on May 19, 2016, ambushed them and brought them down to the precinct and held them there for 9 hours They took their photographs. They took their DNA. They took their fingerprints. They tried to get them to confess. Didn't work. Now, they thought they were being arrested for murder one. At the end of the day, they were released. They were released. They didn't charge him with murder. But they didn't tell anybody that. The Dallas PD homicide squad didn't tell anybody. By the way, we had them down in the precinct. We took photographs. Because they were alleging that whoever set Ira Tobolowsky on fire would have burns and injuries. Why? Because there was a flash explosion right where he was found. Now, they held back that. They didn't really go with that. But what did they go with? As Ira Tobolowsky was found dead in his garage, while he was lying there in his own garage, his brother-in-law, his brother, and a lawyer that worked for him came to the scene and told the detectives there that, oh, it must be this gay couple. They must have killed him. I mean, that's really an incredible thing to say. It must be the gay couple. They must have killed him. And sure enough, I don't know if they were so stupid, these detectives, or they were on the take, I don't know. But sure enough, they focus in on a gay couple, and they say that one of them, I guess the bigger one, Stephen, doused Ira Tobolowsky with gasoline, set him on fire, and burned him alive. That's what went out immediately after this guy was found dead, Ira Tobolowsky. So the investigation only went that way. They didn't bother to investigate. So who is this guy, Ira Tobolowsky? Well, his wife was at the scene, and the first thing they said, what does he do? And she said, well, he does business. He's not a lawyer. He does business, and he does real estate, and he does a little civil law. So right from her mouth at the scene of the death, he's a businessman. He does business. Now, you would think the homicide detectives would want to know something more about him, especially what kind of business, who he's in business with. No, none of that. Turns out one of his business partners was a felon, had done time in a federal penitentiary. This is one of his best friends and business partners. And there's good reason to believe at the time that Ira was found dead, he was not murdered, that his partner, his friend, was a federal informer. I don't know how that shakes out yet. I found that out with a little help. All right. So I get the what they call the crime scene photos, the search scene photos, all that, and I start looking at them in August of this year. And I realize what I'm looking at is not a murder. It can't be a murder. Remember, their official version is Ira Tobolowsky, this lawyer, was doused with gasoline. He was assaulted, doused with gasoline, and burned alive. Well, you look at the photos, that's not what happened. It's obvious that Ira was in the garage, and something happened in the corner he was standing there. Actually, if you're facing outboard, it would have been the right front corner. Garage door is over here. There was an explosion, a flash. And it's evident from the crime scene, photos, not a crime, that it was so powerful it knocked Ira on his back. And he was right there. He was right where it happened. And this was not anything caused by gasoline. This was a flash explosion. So he got knocked on his back, and I think he was unconscious, but, the blast, and he was unconscious. And he wasn't burned alive. In fact, his bodies have, at most, second-degree burns. That's all. He was not burned alive, like they wanted everybody to think. He died because of a tragic accident. Something ignited in that corner, in his garage, probably electrical. And there's no doubt, I got the photos, there was a flash, a blast, an explosion. And that's what caused his death. But yet, up until now, they keep saying that Steve Aubrey assaulted him, doused him with gasoline, and set him on fire. That's a bald-faced lie. But they've gone with that lie until recently I told them, based on your evidence and the photos that I discovered in the civil rights case, you're lying. I called them all liars. The DA, the detectives, the family, you lied. This is not what happened, and you can't lie around those photos. Well, before those photos were revealed by me, before the photos were revealed by me of Stephen Aubrey with no burns and injuries, they went ahead and indicted him on May 19th. Now, and they also leaked the arrest warrant affidavit on May 19th. They filed it in Dallas County without serving defense counsel. I've never seen that happen before. You can't file a document with the court unless you prove to the court you've already served your opposing counsel. Not so in Dallas County. They file it and they get an indictment. Indictments, it's well known, are not worth the paper they're printed on. Your toilet paper is more valuable than some indictments. They got an indictment for murder one. The basis is that arrest warrant affidavit. Wow, what? So back in court, in Broward County, we find out from a Dallas lawyer that they filed this arrest warrant affidavit. We got a copy. We go to court and we ask the Broward County ADA, we'd like to be served. He says, no. What? We're not gonna serve you. We're not gonna file it. Wait a minute. It's part of the case. No. All right. So then Chris, my friend, said, well, at least let us compare what you have and what we have to make sure we have the right thing. No. Now, that's very unusual. They have a document that they're supposed to serve and file, and they don't do it. All right. We point out to the judge that the Texas governor's papers are not in proper form, and what's missing is the arrest warrant affidavit that is the basis for this whole arrest in Florida. He don't give a damn. No, it's okay. It's okay. So the fix is in. Where did it start? It had to start in Dallas County, unless the governor from Texas is involved, because the package that he sent, the governor sent to the governor in Florida, was improper. It was no basis to extradite Stephen Aubrey. So they're trying to keep this all secret, but it's leaking out. Something else about this. So this arrest warrant affidavit, I keep looking at it and I realize, hey, this is not prepared by a police officer or a detective. This is done by a peace officer that works for the city of Dallas. That's really strange. What is he doing with this case? Yeah, what is he doing with the case? A murder one case. And all of a sudden it's his case. Something wrong here. Something wrong. The family is pushing this. The Tobolowsky family is a wealthy family, a powerful family. They have judges and prosecutors, and they're pushing this. Lie. And the detectives, the Dallas Police Department detectives, have gone along with it so far. They backed off back in 2016. And the Tobolowskis have pushed this case. They have influenced the Dallas Police Department in a DA's office to charge a man with a crime that never happened. I've never seen that before. To charge a man with a crime, a murder that never happened. He can't be innocent of a crime that never happened. But he's been framed. He's framed on a murder one for a murder that never occurred beyond a reasonable doubt. And I just brought this out recently. This is more than 6 years into the case. because I looked at documents in a civil rights case that is available to anyone. No one bothered to look. And I revealed them to the public. And the Tobolowskis are mad at me now. They're mad at me because I did that. And I think they know by now that actually, people know this, maybe they don't. A Marine is your best friend and your worst enemy. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be on this case to the very end. I'm trying to go to the very top of the DA's office I have. I'm going outside the box. I'm in touch with one member of the press, of the media. She reached out to us. She has been with CBS for 20 years down there. She reached out to us. I sent her the photographs of Ira Tobolowsky lying face up. Not the whole thing, just his feet and the source of the fire, the blaze, the flash. And she actually got in touch with the DA's office and wanted to know from the DA, are you going to consider what Mr. Giannini has disclosed? Haven't heard from her since. This is sort of good on her part because the day of the indictment, the day that the arrest warrant affidavit was leaked to the media, she did a big segment on CBS TV. And she was saying, she was talking about this leaking arrest warrant affidavit. She even showed photographs of pages to it. How's that? I think now she's like, wait a minute. She had doubts about what she was fed back then. This is an ongoing thing. I'm trying to short circuit it. The lawyer on the case right now was assigned by the judge. He is getting paid by the hour. And his attitude is that this is like any other case. No, it's not like any other case. And he really believes that he can't move to dismiss a murder case or any case. You have to go to trial. That's absolutely insane. I've had many murder cases, post-indictment, before trial dismissed, because you bring out something so egregious that the district attorney will say, you're right, we'll consent to a dismissal. That's happened many times with many of my cases. You don't have to go to trial to prove your innocence. The DA, if he thinks he has a case, you're on a reasonable doubt, will take you to trial and try and prove his case beyond a reasonable doubt. No one accused of a crime ever has to prove that they're innocent. The burden of proof always stays with the prosecutor. But this lawyer down in Texas thinks different. I have never seen anything like this before. I went to Dallas. I went to Florida, where he was fighting extradition, Stephen Aubrey. I went to Dallas, where he's being held, and it was not a good experience. The courthouse was a huge square building, huge. And right behind it was the Dallas County Jail. It was the biggest effing jail I've ever seen, ever. That's a bad sign. Then I was walking around in downtown Dallas, and guess what? It was basically deserted. A few tourists, a few homeless people. And while I was walking, I realized I was right where, I was walking right where JFK had been assassinated. I had walked on to Dealey Plaza by accident, and I hung around for a while. But the vibe from that city was really bad. Deserted and ominous, something about it. Although I did get out of Dallas, and they have a really fine transit system, and outside of the city of Dallas, there are a lot of suburbs, really nice suburbs, but you don't see any people walking around. I guess it's too damn hot. All right. I'll be back on this. And one other case that I'm involved in, or litigation involving former President Trump. I'm going to try and show people, convince you people, that Trump has immunity. He'll never be held accountable because our FBI and our Department of Justice and our federal judges and even our presidents have helped to create what he is. They created him, and they can't take him down now. He will never be taken down by the feds. He'll never be charged with a crime. They can't do it. He worked with them for too many years. And I know this firsthand. I was in on the ground floor when it all started back in 2000 with the Russians. I guess they were Russian mafia now, as I look back. And money, a lot of money, coming from Russia. And money doesn't come out of Russia in the hundreds of millions of dollars unless Putin is involved. And that's what it came down to. Trump is definitely the Russian connection or the Russian candidate. And there's nothing that we could do about it. That's why he's always loved Putin so much, because he took $1 billion from Russian oligarchs. That doesn't move out without Putin. I think right now Putin has a target on his back. He's really screwing up big time. Maybe Trump too. All right. I lost track of time. Sorry about that. I'll be back. Take care.